So in today's class, we'll be doing the last part of current electricity, that is solving the NCERT problems. Okay. So before I start solving, just let me know if there is any doubt from the topics that we have discussed till now. Is there any doubt? Okay. So assuming there is no doubt, we'll get started. Okay. Listen. So first problem, exercise 3.1. Exercise problems. First problem 3.1. The storage battery of a car has an EMF of 12 volt. If the internal resistance of the battery is 0.4 ohm, what is the maximum current that can be drawn from the battery? How to solve this? So what is given? EMF is 12 volt. Internal resistance is 0.4 ohm. What is the maximum current that can be drawn from this? So what is the answer? I max is equal to E divided by R, that is 12 divided by 0.4. That gives us 30 ampere. Clear? So it is 30 ampere. Second. So there is a battery of EMF 10 volt. Wait, let me copy this. Yeah. So there is a battery of EMF 10 volt and internal resistance 3 ohm that is connected to a resistor. If the current in the circuit is 0.5 ampere, what is the resistance of the resistor? That is the first part of the question. Second is, what is the terminal voltage of the battery when the circuit is closed? So let's try to visualize how the problem is. So there is an external resistor R across which there is an internal resistance of 3 ohm and an EMF of 10 volt that is connected. Let's say the current in the circuit is I. So I is given as 0.5 ampere. E is given as 10 volt. Small r is 3 ohm and capital R is what we need to find. So how to proceed, guys? How to proceed to this problem? Anybody? Guys, how to do? So there is one battery external resistor and internal resistor. So how will you solve it? So it's very simple. First, redraw the circuit. I is equal to, we'll apply Ohm's law. I is equal to V by R equivalent. So 10 divided by R plus 3, which implies I is 0.5. So 0.5 is equal to 10 divided by R plus 3, which implies R plus 3 is equal to 10 by 0.5, which is going to give you 20. From here, we can conclude R is equal to 17 ohm. So if you connect an external resistor of 17 ohm across this kind of a cell, then the EMF, then the current is going to be 0.5 ampere. Okay. Next is, what is the terminal voltage of the battery when the circuit is closed? So point A, point B. Since the cell is getting discharged, the terminal potential difference will be equal to E minus I into smaller. So what is the value of E? It is 10 minus I is 0.5 into smaller is 3. So how much is this, guys? 10 minus 1.5, that is nothing but 8.5 volt. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Is there in series? No. Okay, this is 8.5 ohm volt. Next. Three point three A. So there are three resistors, 1 ohm, 2 ohm, and 3 ohm that are combined in series. What is the total resistance of the combination? Easiest question. R equivalent is equal to 1 plus 2 plus 3. This is 6 ohm. Okay. If the combination is connected to a battery of EMF 12 volt and negligible internal resistance, obtain the potential difference across each resistor. So what they're trying to say is, the 1 ohm, 2 ohm, and 3 ohm put together is connected across how much? A 12 volt resistor with zero internal resistance. We need to find what is the potential difference here, here, and here. So what is the value? V1 plus V2 plus V3 is equal to how much, guys? It is 12 volt, because in series connection, the current is going to be the same, whereas the potential gets divided into many parts, right? Similarly, V1 is equal to I into R1, V2 is equal to I into R2, and V3 is equal to I into R3. Right. So having all these points in mind, let's find out what is the value of I first. So for us to find I, what we are going to do is, we will draw the equivalent circuit of this particular network. 12 volt. There it will be 6 ohm. So what is the value of current, guys? 12 divided by 6, it is going to be 2 ampere. So I is equal to 2 ampere. So V1 will be equal to 2 multiplied with 1, that is 2 volt. V2 will be 2 multiplied with 2, that is 4 volt. And V3 will be equal to 2 multiplied with 3, which will be 6 volt. It's 2, 4, and 6. So your answer will be right if you add them and get 12. 6 plus 4 plus 2, it is obviously 12 volt. Right. Next, 3.4. So there are three resistors of resistance 2 ohm, 4 ohm, and 5 ohm that are connected in parallel. What is the total resistance of the combination? Guys, I'll give you 1 minute time. Find out and tell me what is the answer.
Sir, is it 20 by 19 ohms?
How much? 20 by
19.
that is the answer. Let's check. So 1 by 2 plus 1 by 4 plus 1 by 5. So 1 by 2 plus 1 by 4 will give you how much? 6 divided by 8 plus this 1 by 5. If you take LCM, it will be 30 plus 1. 30 plus 8. That is 38 by 40. This 1 by R equivalent. So R equivalent will be equal to 40 by 38, which is 20 by 19. I hope this is what you got, guys. It's 20 by 19. That's right, 20 by 19 ohm. If the resistance, if the combination is connected to a battery of EMF 20 volt and negligible internal resistance, determine the current through each resistor and the total current drawn from the battery. So how to do this? 2, 4, and 5. 2, 4, and 5 are connected across a 20 volt battery of negligible internal resistance. So our work is to find the current through each cell. So I1 is equal to V divided by R1. I2 is equal to V divided by R2. And I3 is equal to V divided by R3. I1 is equal to V is 20 divided by R1 is 2, that is 10 ampere. I2 will be equal to 20 divided by 4, that is 5 ampere. And I3 will be equal to 20 divided by 5, that is 4 ampere. Okay. Now let's do 3.5. So at room temperature 27 degrees Celsius, the resistance of the heating element is 100. What is the temperature of the element if the resistor is found to be 117 ohm? Given that the temperature coefficient of the material of the resistor is 1.7 into 10 power minus 4 per degree Celsius. Okay. So if I take this into consideration, R initial is 27 degrees Celsius. R final is equal to, R initial is equal to 100 ohm. R final is equal to 117 ohm. T initial is how much? And T final is equal to, that's what we need to find. Alpha is equal to 1.7 into 10 power minus 4. So how to proceed, guys? What is the formula? R final is equal to R initial into 1 plus alpha into T final minus T initial. You know R final, R initial, alpha, T initial. So one unknown, one equation, substitute and find out the answer. Either this one is the formula, or you can use alpha is equal to RF minus RI divided by RI into TF minus TI. Okay. Next. So a negligibly small current is passed through a wire of length 15 meter, uniform cross section 6 into 10 power minus 7 meter square, and resistance is measured to be 5 ohm. What is the resistivity of the material at the temperature of the experiment? So we know that R is equal to rho into L divided by A, which implies rho is equal to R into A divided by L. Okay. So rho will be equal to R is how much? 5 into L is 15 into 10 power minus 2 divided by 6 into 10 power minus 7. So this will go 5 times, this will go 2 times. 25 divided by 2 into 10 power 5, that is nothing but 12.5 into 10 power 5 ohm meter.
So formula is RA by L, sir. You did RL by A.
Yes, sir.
Did I make a mistake? Yeah. Sorry.
6 into 10 power minus 7.
So R A by L, no? Then R is 5 into A is 6 into 10 power minus 7 divided by L is how much? 15. 15 is in meter only, no? Moreover, the resistivity value which I got is very high. So it is 3, this will go 2. So 2 into 10 power minus 7 ohm meter. Now it's fine, no?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So here, one point that might confuse you is, they ask what is the resistivity of the material at the temperature of the experiment. So once you see the word temperature, you will start thinking of that rho final is equal to rho initial into 1 plus alpha delta T. No. Because here, when the temperature is going to be the same, the resistivity is going to be the same. So that is what they're trying to say. So that's why the formula is only this thing, not the bigger one. Okay. Next. So that is 3.6. No, let's do 3.7. So there is a silver wire which has a resistance of 2.1 ohm at 27.5 degrees Celsius and resistance of 2.7 at 100 degrees Celsius. Determine the temperature coefficient of resistivity. So alpha is equal to how much? That's it. R final minus R initial divided by R initial into delta T. R final is how much? 2.7 minus R 2.1 divided by 2.1 into 100 minus 27 is, I mean, how much is it? 62.5.
72.5.
Sorry, 72.5. right? So you can calculate this. This part I'm leaving it. Okay, we'll see this problem. So there is a heating element which is using nichrome wire connected to a 230-volt supply and draws a current of 3.2 ampere, which settles after a few seconds to a steady state value of 2.8. Okay. So I initial, I final is 2.8 ampere. What is the steady temperature or steady temperature of the heating element? The room temperature is 27 degrees Celsius. Temperature coefficient of resistance is 1.7 into 10 power minus 4 per degree Celsius. Again, I made a mistake. Wait. T initial is 27 degrees Celsius. T final is less than that. So how to solve this, guys? The only way.
In I, we can find R value.
Very good. Very good. I was about to ask, you told. So they gave this value and this value only to find the value of R. That's
Yeah.
right. So R initial is equal to V divided by, so I is equal to, sorry, I by R, I by V. V by A. So 230 divided by 3.2 and R final is 230 divided by 2.8. We know that alpha is equal to R final minus R initial divided by R initial into delta T. That is 230 divided by 2.8 minus 230 divided by 3.2. The whole divided by how much, guys? 230 divided by 3.2 into T final minus T initial. That's it. So one unknown, one equation, solve for it, you will get the answer. Okay. Going to the next one. 3.9 we have solved. Okay, determine the current in each branch of the network shown. We have solved this. This also we have solved. Well, explain meter bridge. I think we have solved this question. Next is this problem. So there is a storage battery of EMF 8 volt and internal resistance 0.5 ohm. It is being charged by 120 volt DC supply using a series resistor of 15.5 ohm. What is the terminal voltage of the battery during the process of charging? So let's get started. So EMF is 8 volt. Internal resistance is 0.5 ohm. Is being charged by a 120 volt DC supply using a series resistor of 15.5 ohm. So this battery of 8 volt EMF and 0.5 ohm internal resistance is being charged by a 120 volt DC supply using a series resistor of 15.5 ohm. Okay. Now they're asking what is going to be the terminal potential difference across this particular storage battery in this process of getting charged. Secondly, what is the purpose of having a series resistor in the charging circuit? So tell me how to proceed this. How will you proceed? So basically, if you have to apply Ohm's law in a particular problem, let's say you have only one loop, okay, and you want to apply Ohm's law to it, what is that you need to ensure? You need to ensure that there is only one cell and one resistance, right? So here you have two batteries, right? So how you convert them to one particular battery? It is very simple. Here a point is to be noted is, listen, okay? Now listen this. These two cells are of EMF E1 and E2. These two cells are also of EMF E1 and E2. In the first case, what type of a connection is established? How are the cells connected in the first case?
Negative is connected to positive.
Okay. So can I call it as a series connection where E1 and E2 will get, what is going to be the equivalent EMF? It is going to be E1 plus E2. Now, what can I say about the second connection? What type of connection is it? Is it series or parallel?
Parallel, sir.
So this is a misconception people have. People think that it is parallel, but the answer is it's not parallel. It is still in series because let's say this supplies current I1 and this supplies current I2. The value of I1 and I2 will be adjusted in such a way that there will be a common current I that is flowing through the circuit. Okay. So Here also E1 and E2 are in series only, because in series connection, what is the important condition to be satisfied? The same amount of current should flow through both the devices. But the only difference is here equivalent E equivalent is no more going to be E1 plus E2, rather it will be E1 minus E2. So when will you apply minus, guys? When the negative and the negative are connected, or the positive and the positive are connected. Whereas when the negative is connected to positive or positive is connected to the negative, you will be using E1 plus E2. So make a note of this point. Okay. Now, taking these concepts into consideration, tell me what will happen here. What is going to be the equivalent EMF?
E1 minus E2.
Yes. So it is going to be 120 minus 8, that is 112 volt. And what is going to be the value of R equivalent? 15.5 and 0.5 are like they are connected in series. That will be 20 ohm.
It's
So
16
I
ohm,
will
right,
be,
sir?
no, sorry, 16. 16 ohm. So I is equal to E equivalent divided by R equivalent. So 112 divided by 16 is going to give you 7 ampere of current. So the current that is flowing through this circuit is 7 ampere. Okay. Now 8 volt, 0.5 ohm, A and B. So VA minus VB is called as the terminal potential difference. But remember, in this case, the current will be flowing towards the positive terminal of the battery because 8 volt is getting charged. Okay. So I gave you the formula, right? VA minus VB is equal to E minus IR when the cell is getting discharged. Okay. Whereas when the cell is getting charged, it is going to change as E plus IR, that will be 8 plus I is 7 into R is 0.5. So 8 plus 3.5 is 11.5 volt. Means it is no more going to be an 8 volt cell, rather it will behave like an ideal cell of EMF 11.5 volt. Okay. So potentiometer will not do it now. It's the last problem that you're going to see is the number density of free electrons in a copper conductor estimated in example 3.1. So number density is 8.5 into 10 power 28 per meter cube. How long does an electron drift from one end of the wire of length 3 meter towards other end? The area of cross section of the wire is 2 into 10 power minus 6 meter square and it is carrying a current of 3 ampere. So how to solve this? For that, we need to go to 3.1 first. Example 3.1. So since in that problem they have asked how much is the time that it takes to travel from one end to another, then see, since this problem is related to calculating the drift velocity is already calculated and its value is 1.1 millimeter per second. So since it is 1.1 millimeter per second, okay, they're asking what is the time. Time is equal to distance divided by speed. Distance is how much? 3 divided by speed is 1.1 into 10 power minus 3. So when you calculate this value, that will give you the amount of time it takes to travel from one end to another.
Sir, could you explain this again?
Sorry.
Could you explain this again, sir?
Okay. See, they have asked how long does an electron take to drift from one end of the wire 3 meter long to its other end. Okay. So there is an electron here. This electron, how much time is it going to take to reach from point A to point B? So what is the distance it is traveling? It is traveling a distance of 3 meter. Is it clear till this point?
Yes, sir.
Since they told example 3.1, okay. In example 3.1, what so from example 3.1 scenario, you know that the drift velocity is equal to 1.1 millimeter per second. Correct? Just now I showed it to you. So we know that time is equal to distance by speed, but what is the value of distance it is traveling? It is traveling a distance of 3 meter with this particular speed. So you substitute both, you will get the answer.
Okay, sir, understood.
Clear? Yeah.
Sir, but what is the use of area of cross section from the question, sir?
See, what they did is this is not needed. Okay, this thing they would have given because see, had they directly given that 3.1 question, they said we should have solved it from the scratch. They would understand because we don't know what is the value of BD, but what is the formula for BD? So this is the formula. There is one way of finding VD, or the other way of finding VD is possible when you know I is equal to NEA into VD. So you would understand, right?
Okay, sir, I understood.
Right. All these data was given in that problem. So since I took the final value from there, it became easy. But would that pass? Because there'll be some questions where they will give unwanted data. So you need to ensure whether you need to use it or not. Okay. Let's try this. There are 6 lead acid type of secondary cells of EMF 2 volt and internal resistance 0.0515 ohm are joined in series to provide a supply to a resistance of 8.5 ohm. What is the current drawn from the supply and its terminal voltage? Can you guys try? So there are 6 lead acid type of secondary cells, each of EMF 2 volt and internal resistance 0.0115 ohm. Like this, it keeps on going. The last cell will be, actually they are cells, sorry, not a battery. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So how to proceed, guys? Tell me. So what will be the net EMF? Since they are asking what is the current, I is equal to E net divided by R net, accepted. So what is the value of the net EMF, guys? Is it not 2 into 6, that is 12 volt? Because in this case, all the EMFs will get added. The whole divided by, what is the value of R net? It is 8.5 plus 0.015 multiplied with 6. Okay. So this is going to give you the value of current that is flowing through this circuit. Guys, done? Can you try the next one? So what is the next one? A secondary cell is there. After long use, has an EMF of 1.9. Initially, it had 2 volt. Now it has dropped to 1.9. And a very large internal resistance of 380 ohm. What is the maximum current that can be drawn from the cell? So how is it? How much is the current, guys?
One point nine by 380, sir.
Sorry?
1.9 by 380.
Very good. It is 1.9 divided by 380 or 19 divided by 3800. It will be 1 divided by 200. So that is 0.5 into 10 power minus 2 ampere. That is the maximum current it can draw. Will it be able to start the motor of a car? Will this current be sufficient? Obviously,
No, sir.
no. Since the value of current is going to be very less, it will not be able to start the motor of a car. Okay, next. What about 3.16? So two wires of equal length, one of aluminum and the other of copper, have the same resistance. Which of the two wires is lighter? Hence, explain why aluminum wires are preferred for overhead power cables. The resistivity of aluminum is given, resistivity of copper is given. Relative density of aluminum is 2.7, of copper is 8.9. So how to solve, guys? So two wires, aluminum and copper, they both have the same length. They both have, one of aluminum, other of copper, have the same resistance as well. But resistivity of aluminum is how much? 2.63 into 10 power minus 8, and resistivity of copper is 1.72 into 10 power minus 8. So what do you mean by relative density, guys? Relative density is density of substance divided by density of water at 4 degrees Celsius. So density of aluminum is how much? 2700. Okay. What is the density of copper? It is 8,900. For those who didn't understand, relative density is equal to density of substance divided by 1000. 1000 is the density of water at 4 degrees Celsius. So relative density for this is given as 2.7. So 2.7 into 1000 will give you 2700. Similarly, 8.9 into 1000 will give you 8900. Now our job is to find which of these two materials is heavy. How to do that? We know the density is equal to mass by volume. So density is equal to mass by volume. Mass divided by volume is nothing but A into L. Correct? Huh? So A will be equal to M divided by D into L. I'll change it like this. Okay. So we know that R is equal to rho into L by A. So it is rho into L divided by, in the place of A, can I write it as M divided by DL? So this will give us rho into D into L square divided by M. So this is going to be the formula for resistance for this particular problem. So what I'm going to do is, since resistance of aluminum and copper are the same, I will write density of resistivity of aluminum into density of aluminum into L square, the whole divided by mass of aluminum will be equal to resistivity of copper into density of copper into L square divided by mass of copper. So L square and L square will get cancelled. All other values you know. Find the ratio of MAL divided by MCU. If it comes out to be greater than 1, then aluminum is of greater mass. If it comes to be less than 1, then it is aluminum is going to be of lesser mass. Okay, please make a note of this point. Okay. So if you try to calculate, right, you will get mass of aluminum is less than mass of copper. Okay. So when you get this, from this logic, can you guys think why it is used for overhead cables? Why aluminum is preferred for overhead cables? Can you guess it? It is because for the same length of the wire and the same resistance, aluminum required is of lesser mass compared to copper. Okay. So when the mass is going to be less, the weight is also going to be less. So since the cables are going in overhead, we don't want them to hang, right? So the reason is, since the mass of aluminum is less than mass of copper, they are preferred for the overhead cables. As simple as that, nothing else. Okay. Next. 3.20. So let's try out 3.20. So we are given n resistors, each of resistance capital R. How will you combine them to get maximum effective resistance and minimum effective resistance? So how are you supposed to connect the resistors to get maximum resistance? So if I give you 5 resistors in hand, how will you connect all those resistors to give you maximum value?
In series.
Series, sir.
Yes. So when you connect all the resistors in series, what will be the value of R equivalent? Rs will be equal to N into capital R. That is 1. So when will you get minimum resistance, guys? When you connect everything in
Parallel.
parallel. So when you connect n resistors of each value being R in parallel, then you will get the equivalent as R divided by N. If you want, you can calculate and see, because 1 by R equivalent will be equal to 1 by R plus 1 by R plus 1 by R, so on till n times. So 1 by R equivalent become n by R. So R equivalent will become R divided by N. Okay. So they're asking what is the ratio of the maximum resistance to the minimum resistance. So what will be the value? It will be NR divided by R divided by N. If you calculate, you will get the value as N square. Square. That is NR divided by R divided by N. These two will get cancelled. N will go. It will become N square. Okay. So between the maximum and the minimum, you are going to have certain values. Those values can be obtained when you connect them in mixed combination. Okay. That is what the second question is based on. So they have given you 3 resistors of resistance value 1 ohm, 2 ohm, and 3 ohm. How will we combine them to give an equivalent resistance of 11 by 3 ohm, guys? 11 by 3 ohm, 11 by 5, and 6 ohm and 6 by 11. Okay. So I just want to ask few questions. So 1, 2, and 3, if all of them are connected in series, what is the equivalent resistance? This is an easy question, so I myself will answer. Obviously, it is going to be 6 ohm. Similarly, when all the 3 are connected in parallel, what will be the equivalent resistance? Can you guys calculate and tell me?
6 by 11.
6 by 11. So try to understand one thing. Out of the 3 resistors that are given 1, 2, and 3, what is the maximum value? It is 3, right? So whenever you connect the resistors in series, the equivalent resistance will be greater than the maximum value of the resistors that is given to you. So obviously 6 is greater than 3, right? Similarly, out of 1, 2, 3, which one is the minimum value? It is 1. So whenever you connect the resistors in parallel, the equivalent resistance will be lesser than the minimum value of the resistances that are given. So for example, in this problem, you told me it is 6 by 11. So 6 by 11 is a value which is less than 1. So that's what happens in parallel. But so the least value that you can generate from these 3 combinations is 6 by 11. The maximum value you can generate is 6. So it is also possible for you to get any value between 6 by 11 and 6 also. That is when you connect them in mixed combination. Okay, I'm going to use this logic to solve this problem. Now think. Okay, so you people told me 6 ohm. The third answer for the third one is connect all of them in series. The answer for the fourth one is connect all of them in parallel. We need to think of what is the answer for the first and the second. So how to get the first? I told you mixed combination, no? So 1 and 2. For example, it is like this. 1 and 2 are connected in series and 3 is connected in parallel to this. What would have been the answer? The answer would have been, no, it is 3 divided 3 and 3. When 2 resistors of equal value are connected in parallel, the equivalent resistance will be the sum of both. So what did you say? 3?
3 by 2, sir.
That's right. So it will be 3 by 2 ohm. That is 1.5 ohm. But 3 by 2 is not us. So what are we supposed to do? 1 and 2 should not be connected in series. Then what are we supposed to do? You can try 1 and 2 in parallel. Sorry, 1 and 2 in parallel. I'll tell you a logic of how to think, okay? Here I'm just using a trial and error method. 1 and 2, if you connect in parallel, what is the equivalent resistance here? R1, R2 divided by R1 plus R2. 2 divided by 3 plus 3. That will give you 11 by 3 ohm. Got it, guys? So 1 and 2 should be connected in parallel and 3 should be connected in series with that parallel combination to get 11 by 3. Okay. So you need not sit and do this whole calculation. So what you can do is you can observe the denominator. Since the denominator is 3, which two resistors, you see, denominator is 3, you will get a fractional value only when you connect the resistors in parallel. So when you connect two resistors in parallel, the formula is R1, R2 divided by R1 plus R2. So in the denominator for parallel connection, the resistances are getting added. So since you have a 3 here, which two combination of resistors you need to add to get a 3? Obviously, 1 and 2. So 1 and 2 should be connected in parallel. The third one should be in series because 11 by 3 is neither minimum value nor a maximum value. Using the same logic, you guys tell me what should happen for 11 by 5.
2 and 3 in series.
Yes, 2 and 3 should be in parallel
3.
and 1 should be in series with it. That's it. If you try and see, you will get the answer. Clear, guys? So you'll get 6 by 5 plus 1, that is nothing but 11 by 5. Okay. Next. Determine the equivalent resistance of the networks shown in the figure 3.31. Now tell me, how is this 1 ohm and this 1 ohm connected?
In series.
Series. 2 and 2? Series. So can I say I'll replace these two with a 2 ohm resistor, I'll replace these two with a 4 ohm resistor. Similarly, 2, 4, 2, 4, 2, and 4. Now this 2 and 4, how are they connected? They are in parallel. So what will be the value of R equivalent here for this first quadrilateral? R1, R2 divided by R1.
So 4 by 3.
It will be 4 by 3. Okay. So can I say it is like this 4 by 3, 4 by 3, 4 by 3, and 4 by 3 are connected in series? So what will be the value of R equivalent here? It is going to be 16 divided by 3 ohm. That is the answer for the first one. Okay. It's actually a simple problem. I hope you guys understood. Similarly, what will be the equivalent resistance here?
R by 6. Yeah.
No need. It is 5R. You thought they are connected in parallel? No. If I take a battery here, the battery is positive terminal here, negative terminal here. The current is I here. The same current I will flow through this same, and same. So all of them are connected in series. So they just gave you a different diagram to confuse you. That's it. So when they are in series, obviously you're going to add them. It is the answer is 5R. Clear, guys?
Sir, could you explain the first diagram? The A part.
Could you repeat what? Sorry, I didn't
The
get
A
you.
part. The A diagram.
Okay. You wanted me to explain how to solve it? Huh?
Yes, sir.
Okay, listen. I'll draw a separate diagram. This is 1 ohm. This is 1 ohm. This is 2 and this is 2. Okay. If there is a battery connected like this, 1 and 1, 2 and 2. These two are in series accepted. So that is 2 ohm. These two are in series. So it is 4 ohm. So the equivalent circuit for this will be like a 2 ohm resistor and a 4 ohm resistor are connected in parallel across these two. So when 2 and 4 are connected, what will be the answer? 2 into 4 divided by 2 plus 4. That is going to be 8 divided by 6 or 4 divided by 3 ohm. right? So like this, how many such quadrilaterals you have? 1, 2, 3, and 4. So all those 4 are in parallel. Sorry, series. So 4 by 3, 4 by 3, 4 by 3, and 4 by 3. They are in series. So R equivalent will be equal to 16 divided by 3 ohm. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So these are all the problems that are needed for solving from this chapter, guys. I'll send you an assignment. You can work on it and you can reach out to me if there is any doubt. Okay. So that's it for today's class. I'll be starting a new chapter tomorrow. I mean the next class. And by today, I told you, right? Last week I'll send a document. By today I'll send it. Okay. You just fill it, and the majority will be taken into consideration. Okay. So apart from that, is there any doubt, guys, from today's class?
No doubt, sir.
That's good. So I'll see you all in the next class.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.